For my first video, I want to show you how to do this lovely autumn scene. The supplies needed for this are Autumn Brook 212G, Autumn Bank Left 213G, Oak Branch 203G, Three Bare Trees 269G, Seagulls 302A. For inks, I'm using Marvy Matchables Black to stamp all the images. And then for coloring, I have Seashells Aqua Ocean, Adirondack Stream, Lettuce, Pesto, Butterscotch, Terracotta, Red Pepper, and Stonewashed. Also, I'm going to be applying the ink with the Colorbox Stylus. And then the most important tool, in my opinion, is a paper towel, because it's wonderful for masking. So let's get started. I apologize for the video being upside down, but I have not yet figured out a way to get my camera behind me without my hands masking what I'm doing. So I will try to turn the scene around so that you can look at it right side up. The first thing I'm going to do is ink up my Autumn Brook stamp. And I'm going to sit it right down here in the lower right hand corner. You can pretty much line it up with the edge of the card. I'm starting with a piece of glossy paper from the paper cut. It's 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. Next step is to take Autumn Bank Left. I'm only going to use one portion of it, so I don't need to ink the whole stamp up. Then taking a piece of paper towel, I just want to mask a little bit right here because I don't want a lot of overlap on the trees. On my stamp, I made a tiny little mark right here that corresponds to where the edge of the bank is, which makes it much easier to line up. And the idea is to catch this little mark right here with this edge so that the banks somewhat line up. So, placing my mask. I don't want to cover everything up. I do want a little bit of overlap, but not a lot of overlap. And then taking that little spot, I want it to catch right there. I just overlap the paper a little, stamp down, and there we go. Perfection. And that's all the stamping I'm going to do for right now. The last stamps we will use after the coloring has been done. So we're going to start with the water. For the water, I use Ocean Aqua and Stream. Taking a Colorbox Stylus, I pick up quite a bit of the ink, and I'm going to heat set this just a little bit because there's not a lot of time here. Normally I would let it air dry for just a minute or two. It's usually not a required step, but because this is such a fast scene, I would rather be safe than sorry. So I'm just going to tap this color in everywhere that I have water. To put this on a card, I'm going to trim down this side so we're not worried that there's no trees over there. And you want to leave some light spots. You don't want the whole thing to be entirely blue. And that's enough of that. Now using Stream, this is a very, very dark color. I'm going to pick it up just on the edge. And I'm actually turning the edge of my stylus, so I'm only using the edge of it to apply the darker color. And I actually want it to be pretty dark up in here so that you know the water continues. Just kind of following the bank edge. And just tap a little bit more color in, wherever you feel like it needs some darker color. And if you make a mistake down here, don't worry too much about it. You're going to add the branches at the very end, and when you do that, it really is quite forgiving. It covers up a lot of the color. And I think we need a little bit more of this in here. It's a little bit too white. Oh, I got some pretty vivid water there. That's alright, it'll look fine. Now this area here that I was talking about that there was nothing there, if you chose to have something there, I can show you how you can fix that. Using the same left bank that we used before, ink up the side where there's just the trees. And then with your little paper towel mask, you don't want to cover everything, but you do want to cover the majority of it because you don't want really heavy trees here. And then where you see that the bank is, just kind of line it up and stamp it down. And now we have trees there and it filled in that area. Stampscapes are very forgiving. They, no matter what kind of mistake you make, you can usually fix it. Alright, the next step, we'll apply some grass. Using a fresh end on my stylus, we'll pick up lettuce. You'll notice I usually turn my scene so that I always have the edge of my stylus. The edge is here so that the majority of the stylus is back into the scene. That way I'm hopefully not adding color to the section I don't want it, meaning all my color stays back here behind the stylus. You have a lot more control this way. And I'm not tapping very hard. Just putting in a nice layer of color. And you can bring some up into the trees, it won't hurt. Just like that. The next color we go to is pesto. It's a much darker green. It's almost an olive, it's so dark. And I want to darken down underneath the trees because this is the shadows, so you should have it darker in there. Add a little bit here and there in the other grass. Create some darks and some lights. Grass isn't all one color after all. Just here and there, wherever you want. Create a little bit of shadows. Now I'm going to have to stop the video because YouTube only allows you to upload 10 minutes at a time. So when I come back, we'll add colors to the trees, and then on the next video, we'll add colors to the trees and we'll add the sky. Thank you very much for watching.